All right, it's the 2nd of May. It's a Friday, and we've got about 30 minutes to the NY Open. We'll go to the charts in a sec. Just need to check a couple of things. All right, it's NFP today. Right, so let's start with the calendar. We got NFP today. It's the last day of the week. We've got NFP today, 8:30 a.m. EST. So until NFP, we're not going to be taking any trades or planning out any setups, right? We'll do our prep work, draw our zones, find our liquidity areas, and be ready for NFP. But we're not going to place any trades or confirm any setups before NFP, right? Now, being a Friday, we usually predict how the weekly candle is going to close. We're going to do that today, but we're going to keep in mind that this week there has been no volume during the NY session, right? Volume has come in the Asian sessions, in the London sessions, in the NY sessions, there's been no volume. So it could be one of those days that there is no volume again, even though it's NFP, because as I've said, price is driven by what's happening with the tariffs, right? Or with any other geopolitical events. It's not being driven by US data right now, right? So if you watched this week, last week, we've not had moves driven by US data. Now, NFP can always surprise you. We can have NFP and you can have a proper single directional move. It can happen. There are no certainties in trading. It can happen. But going by what we've seen for the week, it may not happen. A big move with NFP may not happen today and might be a range in day, right? So even though we are going to predict how the weekly candle could possibly close, it might either take a very long time for that to happen, 4, 5 hours, 6 hours for that to happen, or it may not happen at all, right? Because if there is a lack of volume, right? If there's very low volume during the NY Open and the NYSE Open, all right? Okay, let's start with the weekly. Okay, just ignore all of this text that's above it. Yeah, I can't get rid of it right now. Okay, so the weekly candle is bearish, right? Very bearish. We are pushing up from 3,200, which kind of we got there yesterday, very close to 3,200, maybe a few pips away from it, and we're pushing up, right? So we've already pushed up 680 pips, right? And again, you will see that move, I think, happened either in the Asian session today or the London session today, right? So we've already moved around 680, almost 700 pips from 3,200. Now, the weekly candle is very likely to close bearish because we have a heavy rejection from above, rejecting 3,500 above, and we close bearish. So this week's weekly candle is very likely to close bearish, right? Very likely to close bearish. I don't think we are going to retrace all the way up again, another 800 pips, and close bullish today. Unlikely to happen, right? Because there'll be a lot of liquidity levels to get through for that to happen. And given that in the NY session, we've not seen a lot of volume, for price to get through all those liquidity levels that you see, these are all liquidity levels, right? These are just weekly SR levels and BRNs. Then you have to get through the liquidity candles, right? You got to get through the liquidity candles, right? These are 5 key areas of liquidity. So you got to get through the weekly SR levels, the BRNs, the psychological round numbers, and the liquidity levels for this candle to flip bullish. Very unlikely, right? So, which means one of two scenarios, the candle is going to close bearish. The question is it going to close with a wick this size, as size of the current wick, or is it going to close with a bigger wick? That's the only question, Only two questions. Is it going to close with a wick of the current size, or is it going to close with a bigger wick? Now, if it closes with a bigger wick, where would it close? Likely it would close at 3289, or just above it, or just below it, somewhere around 3289, right? So we could have a push of about 200 pips up, 250, 225 to 240 pips to the upside, and range after that and close below 3289, right? Around that area, around 3289. That's likely. 3289, even 3300. Okay. For that to happen, what does the daily candle have to do? The daily candle has to close bullish, right? We have to get to 3289. The daily candle has to close bullish, because if the daily candle flips bearish, then we're going to close with a smaller weekly wick. We're going to close with a smaller weekly wick, because the daily candle will need to close around 3230 or below that. So on the weekly, 3230 is there. Yeah, so then you'll have a smaller weekly wick. But as we said, if it's going to be a bigger weekly wick, the daily candle has to close bullish. So the daily candle, so two scenarios. The daily candle could close bullish if price is to close around 3289 or just above it. Or if you're going to close below 3250, we can either close a bearish daily candle or a doji. One of those two scenarios, right? Let's go to our trading chart now. Now we store this information and we look at the zones, and then we see what price is showing us or what price action is showing us. Now, yesterday there was nothing, right? Yesterday you can see price just ranged. Those are two 4-hour candles of the NY session. Nothing happened. If you go to the 30-minute time frame, look at that. There's nothing. Price did tap that liquidity candle. It went up, tapped the liquidity candle. There was no way to take a trade here because price did not pull back. It pulled back only here, right? But it was so many hours away, so that makes no sense to wait that many hours for to place a pending order and for it to get triggered. But when price tapped here the second time, it created another. It grabbed liquidity again, and it created a liquidity wick. That's over 100 pip wick, right? And that's a tradable 30-minute bull candle close. That's a tradable candle. I wasn't at the streams at that time, but I wasn't at the charts at that time. But that's a trade that you could have taken, right? Because price tapped the liquidity candle. There's a big rejection wick. That's a liquidity wick. There is a fantastic pullback down. You can place your the safest stop loss will always be under the liquidity candle, a more aggressive stop loss under the 30-minute candle low. This is what I always say, right? And price did push up and is still pushing up, right? We've pushed up 550 pips, okay? So we've gone through all these levels, but in the session, we had no volume, right? You can see that the volume has come in much later. NY again, during the Asian session. Asian session, we pushed up. The latter, towards the end of New York trading hours, there was a bit of volume right towards the end, right? So that's about, look at this. This is about what, 21:30 IC market server time. So that's like very late towards the end of the NY session, right? So the moves have been, most of the moves this week, right? You know, almost all of the moves this week has been outside of NY hours. During NY time, we just ranged. Or even if we did push up in a single direction, there was no setup, there was no pullback. There were no setups in the NY, no possible pullback setups in the NY session. And if there was volume, otherwise there was no setup, there was no volume at all, and it just ranged, right? So either there was no volume and price ranged, or there was volume but there was no setup. It was one of those two situations. You can see here also, this is Friday, Thursday, this is Wednesday, there is nothing. I think on Tuesday, yeah, on Tuesday there was something, on Tuesday there was, but majority of the time there has not. Sorry, that's Monday. This is Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, this is Tuesday, and this is Monday. On Monday, we did have some volume, but since then, NY sessions have been just very low volume, right? So even though we predicted how the weekly candle could close, it all depends on volume. So let's get rid of all of this and let's get to work. Okay, we are pushing up. That's what's important. Remember that the EMAs have crossed, we are pushing up, right? So there's clean space here to the left above 3265, we are pushing up. Okay, let's start with our zones. There is a demand zone right here, rally base rally. We're going to take a look at this area on the lower time frame because we've crossed a BRN. Let's put the numbers here on here. This first, 042746. Yeah, yeah, this is good. I think on the 30-minute also. Yeah, yeah, this is good on the 1 hour. Take a look at this area. There is a zone here. That's a rally. These are basin candles, and that's a rally. Let's take a look at it on the 30-minute. We'll find that clean move up. There isn't a clean move up on the 30-minute. I think the best we can find is on the 1 hour. Um, yeah, that would probably be the best move that we can find. Yeah, I don't want to look at the 15-minute. Maybe there. Rally, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basin candles and a rally. That's possibly not really. Let's keep it here for now. This would be the leg out, 3 basin candles, and this would be the leg in. 753, 631, 499. Sorry. Yeah. Just give me a second. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Sorry about that. All right. Okay. So we've got 1 hour demand here, 4 hour demand here. Okay. Now we're going to just extend these to the right. These are drawn previously this week. That's 1 hour demand zone. I mean, that's a 1 hour supply zone. I'm going to just extend those to the right. Let's take a look at this area now. We have new demand here, right? We have fresh, it's a reaction, but that's fresh demand, right? So that is the source. That is the first reaction, and we formed demand here, a drop base rally, and then we've come here now the second time and formed demand again. Okay, So we'll mark that out as well. It's a drop, 2 basin candles, and a rally. Let's take a look at that area on the 1 hour. Yeah, that's better. Take it up there, maybe on the 30 minutes, because we've crossed an area here. No, I'm going to keep it on the 4. Keep it to the 4. 507, 204. Okay. That's 4-hour demand as well. This is also 4-hour demand, but okay. Okay. Here we have now, I think that's covered. I think that's a good enough distance to the downside. Yeah, we've covered about 700 pips to the downside. That's good enough. We've not had a lot of volume in the NY session, so it doesn't make sense to have to cover more area. Here we have 4-hour supply. It's a rally-based drop. Yeah, this should be marked 4-hour, not 1 hour. It's a rally and a base and a drop. But we've adjusted it based off on the 1 hour, considering this as the leg out. Okay. Then we have another zone here. And that should be good enough. 500 pips. Yeah, maybe just one more. Yeah, that's good enough. 700 pips to the upside. We've covered until 3329. So 3329 is here all the way up here. That's plenty. We don't need to extend any more than that. Right now, Let's take a look at these areas. We have a new zone here, a new 1-hour demand zone here, two new 4-hour demand zones here, and we have, these are old zones, but we're going to look at the liquidity candle in this area because we hadn't marked it from previously. These two areas, we're going to re-look at the liquidity candles in those areas. This one is, I think, that's already done. So we're going to take a look at these areas. Now, first, let's identify if these are high liquidity zones. Let's just go back to the 4-hour. That was the original zone. It's 195 pips. We've come 117 pips. So I'm going to take this label off, and we're going to look at this zone. We'll start from here. Right, let's go to the 1-hour time frame. Has this taken out supply to the left? Yes, it has. There is a rally, a base, and a drop here, and this move up has taken out that high, making this a high liquidity zone. Okay. Then we have a rally, base rally here. It's taken out this one, right? We've taken out this. A drop, base drop, we've taken out this high, has been taken out by this move up, making this a high liquidity zone. Okay, then we have this zone here. Do we have supply here? It's just range. Yes, we have. There is a rally and a drop here. That's been taken out by this candle, this wick that has gone above this high. There is a base there. You'll find a base probably on a low time frame, but there is a rally on the 30 minutes. That's all. That's the lowest time frame that I go to find supply when I'm looking for high liquidity zones. If I'm looking for high liquidity supply demand zones, right? So we have, just a second. Right, so we have a rally and a drop here, and this wick has taken out that high, so making this also a high liquidity zone. Okay. Right. Let's take a look at this area right here. This is supply. This has taken out this demand here on the way down. There was also, if you look at on the 30-minute, there is a low here, there is a rally here that has been taken out by this move up, down here, making this a high liquidity zone. Okay. Then we have a 1-hour zone there, but that is not a 4-hour zone. That's whatever's left of that zone. Yeah, so that's not a high liquidity zone because that's all that's left of it. This was the original zone. Prices come deep into it. That's not a high liquidity zone anymore. Okay. Right. Now, let's look for liquidity candles in these three demand zones. Start with the 1-hour. This is a large candle. Let's start with that. Just give me a second. Let's look at 30-minute. It's 121 pip candle. 15. 107. 67. Let's look at the 5-minute. Yeah, 123. Yeah, this is the move. That's the move. Yeah, let's keep it on the 30-minute. That's the candle. 238.99. Okay. Here, that's the largest candle. Start with that. Take a look at the 30-minute. It's larger. Let's go to the 15. 81. 92. Yeah. 949019. Yeah. Okay. Let's quickly take a look at this one below. This is the largest candle. Let's start with that. 130. Yeah, 180. This one. Let's go to the 15. Yeah, this one right here. Let's take the 5. Yeah, we're good. 15 is good. 001379. Okay. Okay. I brought it down so it doesn't overlap, right? So you can see that the candles, when you have stacked, I keep saying this, when you have stacked liquidity candles above each other, they've always been tapped on the way up, right? So when price comes there next, very likely going to go through. Always keep that in mind. Okay, this is the NY Open. Just about a few seconds more for the NY Open, but we have time because we're going to wait for the NYSE Open, right? Now, the other thing to remember is, we just save this, for CPI and NFP, those are the only 2 days that we look at the 5-minute chart for support or resistance from. I look at the 5-minute time frame, right? You can look at whatever time frame you want, but I look at the 5-minute time frame for support and resistance because in the anticipation that there is high volume. Now, keeping that in mind, you got to remember that we've had low volume in the NY session. So we might have to look at 5 or 15-minute, right? And be careful. Don't overtrade today. Don't over risk today, right? We might have a low volume day. We've said we've done our prediction of how the weekly candle could close. We could close with a big wick or roughly the current wick size. If it's a larger weekly wick, right, and a bearish candle with a larger weekly wick, that means price is going to close bullish today. We're going to push up. If it's going to be a smaller wick or the current size, we're going to either the daily candle is going to close bearish or a bullish doji, right? Keep that in mind. Okay, let's take a look at this. This is the only zone I think left. In case price comes up to 3289 or 3300, we need to have a look at this area as well. Again, the largest candle in this area to the left, 155. Yeah. This is a very ugly area because we ranged we ranged a couple of days in this area. It's very ugly. There's a lot of that's like that candle. Could be that. It's the largest candle on the 30 minute. It's a clean drop. It's a clean drop here. There's a clean drop here as well. 136. Yeah, I would think that's the candle. Yeah. Support is also formed there. We have a tap here on the way down. Yeah, let's look at the 5 minute. It's too ugly. Yeah, we'll have to take this. There's a 15-minute candle. 908, 516. Okay. Now, I think this zone, there's nothing left in this zone. But we have to take a look at it because the price hasn't gone through it yet. We have to take a look at that zone. And we have a weekly SR level there as well. So it's nothing. There's this candle. Is that one? 164. Yeah, there's nothing left in that. It's 107 pip drop. 124. Yeah, it's this one. But it's been tapped. It's on the 1 hour, but that zone's been tapped. There's nothing left in this liquidity. If we come here, we're going right through. This high is 812. This high is 981. All of these are stacked above each other. Price comes through, we're going to go through all of them. May not happen today, but in the future, probably next week, if we come through, if we continue to be bullish, once we tap one, we're going through all of them. They're all one, two, three, four of them stacked above each other. Okay, that's it. That's the analysis. Those are the zones. Those are the zones. Those are the liquidity candles. Okay, now let's take a just give. I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and we'll take a look at what price is done in the Asian and London sessions. Okay, I'll leave it on this frame, and then I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, let's go to the 15-minute time frame. Let's see where the market opened. 3240.5. 3240.5 is the market open. Okay, we were bullish towards, yeah, so we're pushing up. Okay, that makes sense. Right. So 746, that's the Asian low. The Asian high is 864. It's a London low, that is 631. 337. Okay. In the Asian session, we moved 300 plus pips, right? This is what's been happening all week. Asian, we've been having volume, sometimes in the London. And in the London, we pushed 170, right? So almost double that volume in the Asian session. Now, we were bullish. Let's take a closer look at this. This may give us an idea of what could possibly happen in the first couple of hours of the NY session. Okay, so the market opened here. We were bullish. Latter half towards the end of the NY session, we were very bullish. We started to close above this area. We created a liquidity candle here. We ranged, right? Then we dipped below that liquidity candle and into 3230, grabbed liquidity, created the Asian low, pushed up straight to 3250, no pullback, straight to 3250, closed above it, continued higher, created the Asian high, and then dipped down, right? Dipped down. On the way down, we created a liquidity candle here. Just a second. Yeah, on the way up, we created a liquidity candle. That's correct. On the way up, we created a 30-minute liquidity candle. We rejected the Asian high, closed back below. Closed back below, tapped 3,250 again. Rejected, grabbed liquidity from 3,250 and possibly from the EMAs, pushed above, ranged at this area at the Asian high. That's all we've been doing. We've been ranging, created the London high, came back. We've been just ranging. That's all that's happened. We've just been ranging since then. After we created the London high, we've been ranging. We closed above, closed back below, closed above, closed back below. Now, have we created? Yeah, we've created 30-minute resistance in pre-NY at 3265. Is there anything to the left here? No. There's nothing to the left. Yeah. We've created resistance. We should pull back further down. Okay? But no bottom wick. I'm in favor of buys. Okay, and let me explain why. One, EMAs have crossed and we've created high highs and high lows, right? That's point number two. The EMAs have crossed, point number one. We're creating, if you look at the 4-hour structure, we're creating high highs and high lows, right? High high, high low, high high, high low, high high, high low, high high, high low, and a high high, right? We're continuously on the 4-hour time frame, we're creating high highs and high lows, right? That's point number two. Point number three, there's clean space above 3265, clean space all the way up to 3289, right? That's a 250 pip move up. And if you get above that, there's clean space all the way up. So that's about 400 pips all the way up here to 3,300, right? Roughly 3,302, 3,303, we got clean space up, right? So that's about a 400 pip move up if there is volume. If there is volume in the NY session to get there, right? Also, we are creating liquidity levels on the way up. We created one here on the way up. We created another one here. We have many liquidity levels. The price will have to go through all of them if it's to go bearish, and that means that'll require a lot of volume. And we haven't seen that kind of volume in the NY session, at least with the NY Open. The first hour and a half of the NY Open, we haven't seen volume like that, right? This week, at least we haven't seen volume. Last month there was. This month, May, this week, I count this week as the beginning of the first week of the month. the first week of May, we've not seen that kind of volume. All right. So we have a liquidity level here. We have the EMAs here. We have a BRN here. We have another liquidity level here. We have a weekly SR level here. We have a liquidity candle here. So prices go through all of this if it's to go bearish. That's a tall order, right? It's a tough ask. It can happen if there is volume. On a day where we have candles are 15-minute candles are like 100 pip candles or 80, 90 pip candles, yes, that can happen, but we've not had that kind of volume, right? The 15-minute candles are much smaller than what was before. We've gone down to the previous levels like we were in March, right? 44 pips, 40 pip candles, that is 60 smaller candles, right? So volume is dying, has been dying this week, at least in the first 1.5 hours or 2 hours of the NY Open. So because of those reasons, I favor buys, right? A pullback, wait for price to come back. Now we've rejected the London high, right? So we could come down to 3,250 or even the London low, and then probably grab liquidity, create support, and push up. So I'm going to be looking for support either on the 5-minute or the 15-minute. Either on the 5-minute or the 15-minute, right? I would like to see price push below this liquidity candle and then push up, create support and then push up, right? Because then we have, if we get a trade around 3,250, there is place to move. That's a 150 pip move up towards the London high or 3265. They're around the same area, 3265 and the London high. The weekly SR level and the London high are both almost at the same area. And if we have momentum at that point, if you've created enough momentum, then we can push straight through to this liquidity candle. That'll be the final TP, that liquidity candle right there. I'm going to put a price level there, 3274. That's where you want to get out. We've got another 11 minutes for news. It's plenty of time. Yeah, that's where you want to get out. 3274, even 3273. 3273, 3274 roughly. Just under this candle low. Right, around 3273, 3274 is where you want to get out. In case there is volume, further volume, then I doubt it. We've not had volume. We could go to 3278. Depends. If there is a lot of volume, then we're heading to 3289. But I doubt it. We're ranging right now, right? And we've not had a lot of volume in the NY session. So if we do get if price does pull back here, form support, fantastic. That's a good move up, right? About a 200 pip move up. You want to be very conservative on days when price is showing you that there is less volume in the session that you're trading. When it's been showing you that, you want to be conservative with your TP levels. Don't try to hold a runner for 500, 600 pips. Makes no sense, right? The week has not done that. In the first 1.5 hours of the NY Open, we've not had 500, 600 pip moves, right? This week. So you want to be very conservative with your TP levels, with your TP1 and maybe your TP2. That's where you want to get out. Okay. So we've got about 10 minutes, about 9.5 minutes for news. We've made our prediction on the weekly time frame. We have our zones, we have our liquidity areas. But now we're just waiting. We're waiting for support to form. Price to pull back. We formed 30-minute support inside of pre-NY. We also have formed 30-minute resistance inside of pre-NY. Right at this, right? Now, We can't take a sell here because that's a liquidity candle. You can't take a sell. Just like this week here, I think there was a, was it here? We had a supply zone. Yeah, I think it was here. I can't remember. You can't you can't buy inside a supply zone. So just like that, you can't sell inside a demand zone, right? And this is kind of price compressing, right? It's just compressing up. So we could have a push down and then a pull back up, right? For all the four reasons that I mentioned, right? For those reasons, I'm favoring buys. I'm favoring buys for the reasons that I explained. Any questions? We've got about 7 minutes to news. Any questions? Ask me now on anything that we've discussed. Yeah, like the price. I'd like for price to come down. Mm. Okay, 5 minutes for news. What numbers are they expecting? They're expecting bad numbers. Expecting bad numbers, right? If the numbers are very bad, if the numbers are very bad or like this or similar to this, then we're going to continue going higher. But before doing that, price will very likely grab liquidity. Now, just take a look at, right. On the daily time frame, we've done a liquidity, kind of a liquidity grab, right? You can see that what price did here. We spoke about this yesterday, the first half of the first 10 minutes, 5 minutes of the streams. Uh, During the analysis, we spoke about this, and I've been speaking about this all week, actually, and previously. When price comes to a decision area, if it ranges in that area, it's very likely going to go through, right? You can see price ranged a lot, went through the area, right? Unfortunately, the moves happen in the Asian session, and we couldn't capitalize on it during the stream hours, but it made the move, right? It did exactly what price action showed us that it was going to do. That's what it did. When price comes here and reacts, right? And I've always said this, you're looking at 30 minutes to roughly a 2 hour range, right? 30 minutes, 2 hours, around that range. Price will start to form, will start showing you clear signals, like 30-minute support will form, tradable 30-minute candles will close. If it's buys, then bull candles will close. That's exactly what happened here. If you go to yesterday 30-minute chart, that's exactly what happened here. Price came, did not range. We tapped here for the first time. There was a liquidity candle here to the left, tapped it, 30-minute support form, tradable 30-minute candle closed. Went up, then we ranged above it, came back again. We tapped the liquidity candle, 30-minute support form, 30-minute tradable candle closed, and then we were off to the races, right? Price went straight up. Okay, so we have a liquidity grab on the 30-minute, on the lower time frame. We have a liquidity grab on the high time frame, on the daily. So we're very likely pushing up. We're very likely pushing up, but we want to see price push down, maybe create candles to close in our favor. Right now we have candles closing against us, 30-minute candles. This candle is also going to close bearish. That's two candles closing against us. We want to see candles closing in our direction, maybe a 15-minute candle, right? Maybe, right? Because we've had low volume, but we're going to see how far price comes down and how it reacts, right? Is it going to come below this candle? Are we going to break this low, come further down, and then react? We're going to look at these areas, 3250, the London low, right? These are the areas that I'm going to keep my eyes on. These areas, 3250, the London low, maybe even this liquidity candle, right? The top of this liquidity candle. Those are the areas I'm going to have my eyes on for a liquidity grab, for support to be created, either on the 5-minute or the 15-minute, for price to continue start to push up. I hope that's clear. We got a minute for news. We formed 30-minute resistance and another 30-minute back candle has closed. Those are both tradable 30-minute back candles, but I'm not taking sells because we are in demand, right? I'm not taking sells. I can't take sells. I won't take sells. There are traders who take sells. That's fine. That if it works for them, then that's what they should do. I don't trade that way. I don't sell inside demand. Okay, this is news. Yeah, we're pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down. Going to wait for the 5-minute candle for 5-minute support to form, right? Don't going to do anything until then. Wait for the 5-minute candle to close. Price is pushing down. Tapped. So 30-minute candle, 1 hour candle has, the 1 hour candle is still open. 30-minute candle has formed here resistance and pushed down. And we've tapped 5-minute time frame. We've tapped this. Yeah, we're still coming down. We're going to wait for the 5-minute candle to close. I want to see 5-minute support. If I'm not convinced with the 5-minute support, then I want to see 15-minute support. All right, that's what it is. Just wait. Still no support. I'm going to wait for the next candle to close. This candle is going to close bearish. This is where we're anticipating price to come to. 3273 or 3274 today. Now how long that will take, we don't know. 2 hours, 3 hours, but we've tapped the EMA. We're trying to reject that area. We still haven't formed no support yet. I'd like price to come to 3250. Maybe support is forming here. If it does, you can take a trade. Yeah, possibly forming. Got to wait for the candle to close though. Got to wait for the candle to close. If we form clear support, take a trade. Safer stop loss would be under the London low, and then we'll have to manage risk around wherever 15-minute support is. Around there. That's why you need to manage risk. Right there. 325150. Right? 325150 you have to manage risk, but wait for 5-minute support to form first. If it doesn't, if the candle closes a doji, then you got to wait. You got to wait for 5-minute, clear 5-minute support to form. Don't do anything. A minute more. I think I should come and tap 3250. Yeah, we're closing 5 minutes support. Look to take a trade. 51.50. 30-minute support, 15-minute support, perfect. Yeah, can take a trade. Candle is closing, can take a trade. This is where you manage risk. Stop loss under the safer stop loss under the London low. Yeah, candle close. Can look to take a trade. Can take a trade now. Anticipating price to head to 3273, 3274. Okay. Yeah. Formed clear 5-minute support. We closed above the Asian high. As I said, NFP and CPI, the only 2 days I look for 5-minute support or 5-minute resistance. Okay, no other day. Here's where you manage in risk. You can take a trade. It's a bit of a wider stop loss. If you take it now, right, we could pull back further. Here's where you manage risk. If we break this low, right, ideally a 5-minute candle should close below this for you to close your for you to manage risk. A 5-minute candle needs to close below. It's not 15-minute, 5-minute. Okay, a 5-minute candle. 5-minute because we're looking at the 5-minute support or resistance. But this is visible on the 15-minute, also visible on the 30-minute, right? But we're looking at 5 minutes. So a 5-minute candle closes below 325150, right? Because you can see that no candle could close. We struggled above it to stay above it. If it closes below, that's when you manage risk. Otherwise, you hold the trade, take the trade. You hold the trade for 3273. I've taken some trades. I'm holding it for 3273. We're pushing up now. Remember, this is where you manage risk. A 5-minute candle closes below this, you manage risk. 15-minute candle has closed bearish, but we formed 5-minute support. Once we close above here, we're good. But we need to get here, get above this supply. We've seen this. This is what I said. There hasn't been volume. First 2 hours of NY session has not had volume. First 2 hours, even first 3 hours of NY session has had no volume. And this is the concern with NFP today, that it's likely that there is not going to be volume. And so far there isn't volume. We just pull back to grab liquidity, form support. We've taken some trades here. And here's where we manage risk, 325,150. A 5-minute close below this is where you manage risk. You can close partial positions if a 5-minute candle closes below. You can close everything if a 15-minute candle closes below this. I think we're coming for a tap to 3250. We haven't tapped that level yet. Possible that we come down to 3250. Possible. Remember what I said about risk management, yeah? 5-minute candle closes below, you can close partials. 15-minute candle closes below, you close everything. Yeah, still nothing. We're still in that area. We haven't moved up. We haven't pushed up. We haven't started to push up. Formed 5 minute support, but we're still here. We could come down again, create 5 minute support again from down here, and then push up. If you've taken a trade in this area, just hold and manage risk the way I said. 325150, a 5 minute close below, you close partials, a 15 minute close below, you close everything. Any questions? Type a message in the chat. I hope this is clear why we have 325150 here. Right? Just look at the 30-minute time frame. We have resistance formed here, tap here, we have support formed there. Right? We don't need to go this far, but even if you did, you will find a support resistance level there. You don't need to go this far. Yeah, this is unnecessary to go that far. Just need to look at recent support resistance. If that area is valid here, we've tapped here, formed support here. If you look at the 15-minute time frame also, you can see that we've created resistance even under 3251. So maybe even 3251 or 32, yeah, even 3251 instead of 325150. It's still around the same area, right? That's how we manage risk. So that's why that is the initial stop loss, safe stop loss, right? If you took your trade down here, or if you took your ticket up here when price came down and tapped the liquidity candle, if you took a trade, that's also fine because we said we're buying today, right? Yeah, I gave out the analysis very clear. We're looking to buy. You're trying to buy at the best possible price in this area, right? So we came, we tapped here, did form 5 minute support, prices come back here, you can enter even here, that's also fine because we form 5 minute support, all the conditions have been met. And this is where you manage risk, 3251 or 325150. And these are your TP levels, 3273. I would say take your positions out at 3273. If you really want to hold something, then you can hold maybe 15% or 20% to 3278. Keep in mind that there hasn't been a lot of volume. So be very conservative with your TP levels. That's a 101 pip candle. Yeah. Still nothing. Still nothing. Okay, I'll be back in about 2-3 minutes. 30-minute candle is trying to close bearish. It's just no volume. This is what we've been seeing this entire week. NY session, now even though we had NFP, big news event, nothing. No volume at all. Push down, and then we just stuck here. Stuck at this liquidity candle. Stuck at, we have this EMA here, we have 3250, we're just there. Five-minute candle closes below, close partials. 15-minute candle closes below, close everything. Just no volume to push up. Possibly coming to 3250. Wait for the 5-minute candle to close. It's one of those weeks, a tough trading week. Tough trading week. There is no clean moves, no clean volume, single directional volume in the NY session. We're going to get weeks like this. Not often, but it happens. Where volume shifts from one session to the other. And you have moves like this, Asian session, clean 300 pip move up. Look at that, straight move up. Form 30-minute support, 30-minute support, pull back, and straight up. Okay, 5-minute candle is going to close below. Yeah, it's going to close below. You can close partials. Yeah, we're closing below, close partials. 15-minute candle also close below. Yeah, you can close everything now. You can close everything. Close the trade. And if we form support again, maybe on the ideally like 30-minute support, because now we're just showing that price is showing that there is no volume, right? That's what it's showing. There is no volume. 30-minute candle is closed here. There is no volume. We've tapped 3250, pushing down further to the London low. We rejected the London high, pushing down to the London low. Yeah. Close everything. Close everything. And now you have to wait for 30-minute support to form. Usually NFP, when 5-minute support forms, if there is volume, it forms support and continues. But this whole week we've not had volume. So this is kind of expected, still coming down. Tap the London low. Yeah, there is nothing. We're coming down further. It's coming down further. Dropped 160 pips for NFP. Support form, resistance form, dropped into the liquidity candle straight through. Hmm. Possibly coming down to this liquidity candle. Yeah, yeah, we're coming down. Clean space to the left, we're coming down to this demand zone here. Very likely coming down here. That's where we're heading to. This liquidity candle. We've broken below this. Once we close below the London low, we're coming down. Yeah, we close below. 5-minute candle close below, we're coming down. Coming to this liquidity candle. Get rid of this. Yeah, we can get rid of all of that because we've tapped this already. if you're looking for buys, you have to wait for 30-minute support to form now because there is no volume. Whenever there is no volume, it's similar to uh, trading in a range, right? This is not so much a range, but there is no volume, right? Price is just, you can see what happened here. So wait for, there are no clean moves. We were inside demand. We can't take sells inside demand. I can't, I wouldn't take sells inside demand because price can push back at any point. So it's always, you got to wait for confirmations to buy. So now since we formed 5-minute support from a liquidity area, this didn't work because there was no volume to push price up. Now you got to wait for 30-minute support to form. We're coming into this 4-hour demand zone. It's rally based rally. So wait here. We're going to probably break this low as well. There's no liquidity. There is no bottom wick on this candle. So 35.90 coming below that 35.90. Very likely coming below that. And no bottom wick again. $31.31. Yeah, so absolutely no selling. We can't sell here. We're just at demand, and there is no confirmations to buy. This is similar to the story this entire week. Have to wait for 30-minute support to form. This has been happening. This first 2 hours of NY, this is exactly what's been happening the whole week. We should be coming further down. This is probably creating a top wick to come further down. We're coming down probably here. No bottom wick on the 30-minute candle and the 1-hour candle. We're coming down. Wait for 30-minute support to form. I'm not going to be here for too long. I'm going to probably be here for another 10 minutes more. I don't see any possible setup. Right now there is no sign of a setup. 30-minute resistance formed here, but you can't take a trade because there was demand right here. Can't take a sell because we have demand right here. For buys, 30-minute support has to form. You want to see something like this, 30-minute support form, and then price to push up. Yeah, I'll be here for another 10 minutes. Right now, there is nothing. Don't try to take any buys until 30-minute support forms and a tradable 30-minute bull candle closes. Do not try to attempt buys. Candles are closing against the buys. Any buy idea that you have, candles are closing against. You want to see candles starting to close in your direction. And 30-minute support, not 15-minute, 30-minute, because we have a lot of bearish volume coming in. Price is pushing down, and we've had little volume, right? Little volume inside NY hours. Though this is a push down, this is from here, NY open, a 250 pips push down. Couldn't take sells because there was demand right here. And then there was 3250 right here. So this is possibly still a liquidity grab. But for that to be confirmed, you need to wait for 30 minutes support to form. Then you know that it's a liquidity grab. And yeah, then you can look to take a trade. Hopefully next week will be better. We'll have clean volume and clean moves in the NY session. Next week is interest rates. Next week, what's up next week? Let's see. Yeah, next week is interest rates. They're planning on keeping the interest rates the same. Price should push down next week. Should push down. Should keep if they keep the rates the same, price should push down. Still nothing. 30-minute candle is very likely going to close bearish. 15-minute has closed bearish. Probably going to go up here, create a top wick around this area, around the London low, even further up, probably around 3250, and then continue to push down. You want to see a 30-minute candle, ideally a 30-minute support form, and then at least a 15-minute bull candle, tradable bull candle close above the London low for price to push back up to 3265 and then 3273, right? That's what you want to see. I'll repeat that. You want to see 30-minute support form. Now 30-minute support can form with a bullish doji, doesn't matter, or a tradable bull candle could close. But after that, you want to see a 15-minute bull candle close above the London low. That's the London low right there, here, above this, for price to continue to the London high and 3265 and then push further to 3273. Until then, don't take buys. That's my recommendation. Don't take buys. If you did take this trade here, this buys, and you manage risk, then good, then great, good job, good job. You didn't wait for your full stop loss to get hit. You manage risk here. Yeah, if you took it here, then maybe your stop loss would have been about 60 pips, and you manage risk there, 50, 60 pips. You're creating a top wick to come down, to continue down lower. I'll be here for 5 minutes more. Okay, I'll be back in a couple of minutes and then we'll end the stream. So just one trade that I took when 5-minute support was formed. I took it on the pullback, waited for price to pull back a bit. I took one here and then one just below and managed risk just above that, right? So that's it. Not taken any more trades, and I won't take trades unless in the next, after NYSE open, the first 30-minute candle, if you form support, I'll possibly look for a trade. If it doesn't, that's it. Call it a week, call it a day, call it a week. Do not attempt any buys or sells because this week has been low volume, and even if you do take a trade, there is no guarantee that price is going to have the volume to get to your TP levels, right? Because we've had no volume. Look at that. This is NY open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 candles. That is 3.5 hours. Price is just pushing up. We're creating dojis, pushing down, then we push back up. That's what happened for 3 hours, right? And that could possibly happen here as well, right? That's what happened here also, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 hours, and then continued, right? For the next 2 hours also continued, right? And that's what happened here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4 hours, which is ranged up and down. So that could happen today as well. So don't try to force a trade. Don't try to, you know, overtrade today. Don't do that. It's a Friday. It's been a very low volume 2-3 hours of the NY Open this entire week. And that's what I said when we did the analysis. That's what I said straight up. The weekly candle could close up here, but it could take a long time. I said this, it could take 6 hours for that to happen, right? 6-7 hours for that to happen. So unless you're willing to take a trade, a low risk trade, and hold it for the next 5-6 hours, then just don't do it. Call it a day. It's not worth it. So wait for clear 30-minute support to form, and at least a 15-minute tradable bull candle to close above the London low. That's when you know we're heading up. All right, I'll be back in about 2-3 minutes, and then we'll end the stream. Okay. Still have about 7 minutes for the candle to close. We'll have to wait. See, is this creating 30-minute support, or is this creating a top wick to continue down? You got it. That is why it's important to wait for the candle to close. 6 minutes is a quite a bit of time for price to push back down and close bearish, or continue up and close bullish. So you got to wait. I'll be here for another 3 minutes more. Wait for the last 2 minutes, and then I'll end the stream. If we form 30-minute support, and that would also mean a 15-minute candle has closed below above the London low, then we could be heading up there. Then you want to draw the fib. This is how you would draw the fib, because we've tapped the liquidity candle perfectly to the pip, right? We've tapped it to the pip. So you will draw the fib and maybe take a pending order here at the London low, at the optimal entry level, even at 3250. And that's where you would manage risk, right? You would manage risk at the 15-minute support, but you got to wait for the candle to close. Yeah, this is exactly where you would manage risk. I'll put the line on here because this will be after the stream hours. 43.50. Say 43. Yeah, support. We don't need to go that far. Support, close below, closed above, tapped it, stayed below, tapped it, stayed below, closed above, closed below, tapped it, stayed above. Yeah, 43, 2343. That's why you would manage risk. But wait for the candle to close. Still 4 minutes more for the candle to close. 30-minute candle must close. Don't do anything until the 30-minute candle closes. Anyway, if you're not chasing price, you want to wait for the pullback. If the candle closes like this here, then that's a liquidity grab from the liquidity candle. Perfect. Look at that high, 39.49, 39.50. Perfect tap. If it's just a point or even a pip away, it's considered a tap. That's a tap of that liquidity candle. Pushing up. One 113.951. That's a lot of volume. 200 pip candle. Yeah. I'll wait for the candle to close. Then we'll end the stream. A minute and a half. It should leave a top wick. Then the next candle, even if it pulls back, has a range to trade into. You don't want a candle with no top wick. This candle closed no bottom wick, price pushed down, and is going the opposite direction. Remember the TP areas, 3273, around roughly 3274, 7374, and then 3278, and if there is volume, then 3289. I don't know. I don't think we're going to have volume. I think we'll probably get here, and then that's it. We're going to range after that. Because 3273 would be 3273 is right there. Yeah, just above. Yeah, just here. Yeah, close to 3289. Yeah, that area. Okay, 30-minute candle is closing bullish. We form support. Tradable 30-minute bull candle has closed. That's a liquidity grab from the liquidity candle. 15-minute candle has closed above the London low. Wait for a pullback. These are areas where you can enter. That's the fib. 3250. The London low is another point where you can enter, place a pending order, and 3245.3 maybe. And here's where you manage risk. If price breaks below 3243, you close partials. If a 15-minute candle closes below 3243, you close everything. Straightforward, right? I'll repeat again. These are where you can place pending orders, 3250, the London low, which is 3246.25, and 3245.25 roughly, right? 3245.25. If a 15-minute candle closes below 324, if a 15-minute candle breaks, if price breaks this low 3243, you close partials. Not everything, you close partials. If a 15-minute candle closes below 3243, that's when you close everything, right? That's the trade idea. That's that's the level to manage risk, and these are your TP levels up here, right? So if you get an entry here, that's about a 230 pip move, and if you go further, it's about 280 pip move. All right, that's the end of the stream. That's where I'll be waiting to take orders. Now, keep in mind, if you don't want to take this trade, don't take it because of how the week has been playing, right? Even if you do get entry, the trade could take 4 hours to work out, 5 hours to play out, right? You could be seated at your computer for a long time. So if you don't want to do that and you feel that it's not worth it, call it a weekend. Call it, start the weekend early. Call it a day, start the weekend early. Don't take any trades today. But for those who are trading and you want to take a trade today, then that's the setup, the one I've just shared. The TP levels, where to enter, and where to manage risk. All right? See you guys on Monday, 7:30 a.m. EST. We'll do our prep work and see if we have a trade for the first 2 hours of the NY Open. Hopefully, we should have hope. We can only hope for clean volume, right? Unlike this week um, where we've not had clear direction, clear moves, clear volume moves in the NY Open. But we can only hope that we'll have clean moves and pullbacks to take those trades. All right. See you guys Monday, 7:30 a.m. EST. Don't overtrade today. Just be careful. Don't overtrade today. Right? It's not worth it. Take care. Have a great weekend.